Okay, Gloria Mayfield Banks, the only take. Living, caring, giving, sharing. Boy, oh boy, I love to work with the daring. A magic million? Can you imagine such? Of course you can. We've got the touch. I'm small in stature only, but I'm heavy in belief. I'm leading by example, so you can count on me as I flash this $1 million smile. The world will know it's all worthwhile, because I'm banking on the magic, banking on success, banking on some people who simply want the best. I'm proud to be before you, and I'm proud to be top rank. I'm elite. Executive, National Sales Director. My name is Gloria Mayfield Banks. I've always thought that affirmations in Mary Kay were important. Each of us are individual, and that affirmation lets other people see your individualism and what you're about. So I started with my affirmation, and it's changed a little bit at the beginning, and then it sort of found its home and stayed there. When I was a little girl, what was my dream job? Honestly, I thought I was going to be a comedian. But I didn't know what a comedian was the way I know it today. But I did think I was going to be in a position where I would make people laugh. I'm happiest when people are happy around me. My parents lived the type of life I wanted to create for my life. My parents were just shy of 62 years when my dad passed of marriage, and I'm the third of 4 girls. We all live in different cities now, but growing up together, we were independent but connected. And my parents, to me, the best way I could describe it is that they were very, very passionate about our self-esteem and about our education. They instilled hard work in us, and they expected a lot from us. But it wasn't the type of expectation I see some people talk about. It wasn't an uncomfortable expectation. We support you to be amazing because you are amazing, and you will become amazing. 7th grade. You know how you forget about a lot of grades? 7th grade was the year that brought to light my challenge with reading. And that's the year they found out I was dyslexic. And I remember it so well because I did a book report on the Panama Canal. And my teacher called my mother about this book report. My writing was off, my spelling was extremely challenging, and so that's when they found out I was dyslexic. What I know now is that they didn't have the tools to work with people who were dyslexic. It came to light why testing was so difficult for me, why I developed the gift of gab to overcompensate. My mother found out why I would always be sick during test time. She didn't understand, and she was mad. She was really mad because I didn't articulate to her how poorly I was doing, because if I had articulated to her how poorly I was doing, she would have made me stay up longer to get something I knew I was incapable of getting. But at least we found out that it was a disorder. What was amazing was the way my parents handled it, so that I never got bullied, I never got teased. It was some time in my life I tried to cover up. And so I really do believe that's why I got the gift of personality, because I did not have the gift of showing up in schoolwork. They kept telling me I was smart. That was important. It was important that they kept telling me that I was smart, even though the books didn't tell me I was smart. And that was important for me. So it was a really big deal because a lot of people had talked about what it was going to be like. We had to take a different bus, and we were going to go way out into the community. And see, that was big coming from a city like Detroit, because Detroit in our mind was the African American city. I was captain of the cheerleaders. No surprise. But it was sort of funny because I remember how ambitious I became at winning. And I was a captain of cheerleader, and we were going for state champs in a school that we integrated, and we were going to play in that environment. It was a big deal. I tell people that's where my appetite for ambition was developed because it was recognition based. And what was exciting for me is I had to help others become their best. People laugh when they know that I used to work seriously at a grocery store. Yes. This is where I really saw my people skills. Whatever lane they put me in, people would be in that lane. I saw the power of making other people feel great. What I discovered about myself is that I really loved to work, and I really loved to work overtime. Like, I want to study and I want to work. I want to study and I want to work. So when the rest of my friends were sororities or hanging out, doing parties, I wanted to work. Wow. Why did I want to work so much? At that time in my life, it wasn't so much that I wanted a lot of money. I really liked to work. I really liked to be around people who liked to make things better. I wanted our grocery store to be the best grocery store. Isn't that crazy? If they said, where's the crackers? I'm like, oh, aisle 6, you know. One leadership lesson from the grocery store manager was, do your best even if people are not watching. And so I saw how he instilled in us a desire to want to be our best. I was motivated by the excellence of the possibility of Harvard. So I applied. My mother was so shocked. I mean, she was like, I can't believe you got into Harvard. But I did, and I went, and they did not know I was dyslexic when I walked into the doors. And he said, Gloria, if this doesn't change, you're going to flunk out of finance. No one was going to fight for me. I had to fight for myself. And I had to convince him that I was worth passing. And I had to convince him that I would do whatever you asked me to do. I just couldn't read the words. Reading the words does not have to do with understanding the concept. And so I had to make sure that they understood that. I had a woman who became one of my best friends. Her name's Juliana, and my daughter is named after her. And Juliana was so magnificent because she read to me every day for 2 years. She would read the case studies to me. I would explain the case studies to her. It was a strong lesson in you have time to help other people and still get your job done. So she read to me, and I helped her, and we'd stay up nights to get it done. I told her I was naming my daughter after her, and I remember her eyes filling up with tears. I remember that. My daughter being named Juliana is a reminder of someone who reached into my heart and gave me time when we didn't have any time. When everybody doesn't think you have time, when you give them a little bit of time, it makes them feel amazing. The night before my wedding, I was back in Detroit, of course, and my girlfriend was having a party, and I wanted to go to the party, but he didn't want to go. So I said I was going to go. And it was at that moment he told me he was going to hit me. He was clear, and he told me, I'm going to beat you if you go to that party. And I remember exactly where I was standing. I said, no, you're not. My father's in the house. You're not going to do anything to me. I'm going to the party. So I went to the party. I gave him back the ring. We broke up that night. I didn't tell anybody. I came back home from the party, and he was waiting for me. And he was mad, but we talked. We got back together. I should have known at that time that it wasn't good. He'd already had anger issues that I had seen. And I did not see a bad marriage before. You know, my parents' friends, divorce wasn't a part of my reality. Right before I walked down the aisle, my father turned to me and he said, if you want me to go out and tell all those people that you don't want to get married, that's fine, I'll do it. There were 700 people waiting. I have no clue how my father knew to ask me that question. I honestly believe it was God. But I didn't pay attention. And I said, no, Daddy, I'm ready. Let's go. All Forget the fact that he told me last night he was going to beat me or hit me. He would yell at me horribly yell at me. I'd cry. I can't even tell you the number of times that I would feel amazing at work and feel extremely small at home. We'd have a huge argument, and I would be crying all the way to work. And I'd hit that parking lot, and I would become Gloria. And I'd walk into that job, and I would handle it. Image right, energy right, everything right. Smart on it. Get home and hear the door turn. And my mind would go into say the right thing, do the right thing, be pleasant, don't say this, just all these check marks I would do to be the right, perfect person that I could never become. Because when that door knob turned, I knew something was going to happen every day, every time. So, but again, I'm a fighter, I'm smart, I'm gonna figure this out. And I couldn't. So you get a little misunderstanding what domestic violence is. The last thing I want to do is argue. And so I would only fight back when I'm pushed into a corner. And so he would push me into the corner on purpose. That's domestic violence. And if you don't see it, you don't know it, there were so many signs that I was in an abusive relationship that it's challenging for me because it is contradictory to the fact that I'm smart. If you're smart, why did you not know that this was wrong? If you're smart, why didn't you just get out of there? So I can see it now. So we were married 6 years before I had Juliana. I had some pregnancies before that. But abuse started in our relationship prior to me getting married. I was only strong enough to get out after I had my children. And they were 1 and 2 and 2 and 3. And I immediately saw what was happening. I saw their future. I saw that if I didn't move, if I didn't find the courage, this was going to happen to them. So I did not have the ability to leave for myself, but I found the strength to leave for them. If I could tell myself anything, tell people. You don't have to be the strong person. There are other people that are stronger than you in different areas. You don't have to be the strongest in everything. There's nothing right about letting people treat you wrong. I got introduced to Mary Kay at a very pivotal time in my life. It's amazing how that happens for us. And I knew the marriage was bad, and I knew it was going to end soon. I didn't know when it was going to end. So when I went to that skincare class, I remember sitting at that table saying to myself, I'd love to make some extra money. I'm going to need some extra money. I have absolutely no time. I remember in my head having that conversation before they offered me the opportunity, everything. I have no time. I was a well-paid, hardworking already executive businesswoman. But I saw them making extra money. I mean, really. I mean, it wasn't this big thing. People say, Gloria, how'd you come into Mary Kay? Wow. I was like, I went to a skincare class and I was having fun and I had no intention of buying anything. And I bought some, and all my girlfriends who didn't have any money, they bought some too. And so I was like, oh, this works. Really, it was so... I really leaned over to my kids and said, we're going to sell Mary Kay. Because they were there with me because we were at my girlfriend's house 2 doors down, and we always hung out there. And looking back, I hung out there because her house was happy and my house was not. When the Mary Kay women were there, it was an energy, it was a joy. it was happiness. So that's why I started. When I went to my very first meeting, I said to myself, no one in here knows me. No one knows my background. I don't have to explain myself. I'm not Harvard. I'm not the executive woman. I'm not the mother in an abusive situation. I'm not unhappy Gloria. I'm just Gloria. And really quickly, my why became fun. My why became joy. Mary Kay played such a major role in my ability to create what I call my happy life. I saw women who were happy to have businesses at home so they could be with their husbands more, when I would do anything not to be at home. So every time I looked around, there was example after example after example of women who had great relationships. When I became a single parent, I became a very happy single parent. I had a great relationship with my kids, a great relationship with my friends, a great relationship with my Mary Kay girlfriends. I became happy. And it was because of those two children that I learned how to be a great single mother, and I fell in love with my husband, Ken. And it was because of those children, because I took them on vacation, that they led me to the love of my life. When he met me, the first thing he said was, I have never met such a happy single mother. And I can honestly tell you, it is because of the choice of this career that I was a happy single mother. Ken loves the lifestyle of Mary Kay. He loves the excitement of Mary Kay. He loves the race of Mary Kay. He loves to travel.
You should have seen his reaction when we walked into the suite, the $1 Million suite in Milan. I mean,
it permeates through everything. Because I'm a better person. I'm a better person. And he got a better person because of Mary Kay. I have a happy home. I have a phenomenal relationship with my husband, a phenomenal relationship with my kids. My children are so encouraging. I believe they got the gift of encouragement by being around the Mary Kay environment. I would say that relationships are to give you joy. Even if they're challenging, you have to decide whether you're fighting for a better relationship or are you fighting to save yourself. A relationship is supposed to make each person better. If you don't fight for your heart, how do you expect anybody else to fight for your heart? And if you don't fight for your heart, you'll lose your heart. And I lost mine, but I got it back. I remember walking into my very first Mary Kay meeting. Hi! Hi! Everybody was so huggy and happy. And I was so taken back by that. I was like, oh no, no. No need for a hug. Here's a chair. So I really did. I felt uncomfortable. I sat like this. I was like, where am I at? I don't understand. And they had started talking about their success. And again, everybody was laughing and they were clapping. And I was like, hey! And I'm telling you, in that same meeting, I stood up and started hugging somebody in the same meeting. And then I turn around and become a sales director and create that exact environment over and over and over again. The next thing you know, I'm hugging, smiling, laughing, clapping. It was awesome. It was really crazy. I walked in the doors because I could increase my income, but I fell in love with the career because of the recognition, and I grew in the career because of the competition. For me, the competition meant personal growth. But I remember it was like my first or second meeting, and I walked into the meeting with my girlfriend, Jackie, and I said to her, who are those women sitting in the front of the room? Why do they have on red jackets? And why are we sitting in the back of the room? I belong in the front of the room. I knew I belonged in the front of the room different things drive different people. And I was driven by sitting in the front of the room. I was driven by winning. Just blessed that I did not get crushed by people who tell me no. I just got lifted by people who said, thank you, Gloria, thank you. It was pretty cool. I knew I had to draw to me ambitious women like myself. I really knew that. I'd say, if you don't want more, it's not my responsibility to teach you that you deserve more for yourself and your family. It's my responsibility to find women who really know they want more. And if I have to go through and introduce myself to more women who want more, that's why the beginning of my skincare class became so tight. I wanted to be able to put my attention on who was in front of me and not what I was saying. Meeting Mary Kay Ash herself, I totally remember the first time I saw her. It was at my first seminar. My director kept saying, you gotta go to seminar, you gotta go to seminar, you gotta go to seminar, you gotta go to seminar. She said it so much I thought my name was, you gotta go to seminar. I was like, I'm not going to seminar. I don't have money to go to seminar. I'm not going to seminar. So she kept saying, you gotta go to seminar. So I go to seminar, and I walk into the convention center, and everybody there is taking pictures of the empty stage. I mean, pictures. I was like, this is so crazy. And then Mary Kay Ash stepped out on stage. I tell you, I immediately stood on a chair, grabbed my skirt and said, Mary Kay, I love you. I mean, I fell in love with her immediately. I so remember that. I remember going to Dallas for a meeting at my other job. I said, I'm going to sneak over after the meeting and go to the Mary Kay headquarters. And I was just sitting in the middle of the lobby, and Mary Kay came through the lobby, and I ran over there. I lost all professionalism. I ran, Mary Kay! It's so ridiculous. And so, anyway, I mean, her hands were soft as butter. And she grabbed my face, and I said, Mary Kay, my name is Gloria, and I live in Boston. And you know, she asked me a couple questions. I can't even remember what she said, but I just remember her saying, and I know you'll be great. And I know you'll be great. I mean, she looked me dead in my eyes, and she said, I know you'll be great. It was awesome. And I am. I was a DIQ 3 times. I kept falling off. And then I went to a retreat in January. And at the end of this retreat, you know, they play that sappy song, and everybody's crying, and I was crying too, like, I'm gonna be great, you know, sappy song. I said to myself, Gloria, this is ridiculous. You gotta get it together. I so remember that. There's nothing more powerful than a made-up mind. And so I went to work the way I was supposed to work, not the way I wanted to work, the way it said to work in the consultant's guide. I went back there, and I started doing that work. What I did differently that I wasn't willing to do before I had that made-up mind was I became extremely consistent on tracking the week. I didn't wait to the end of the month. I was doing it all the time. I became so less distracted. And I stopped taking advice from everybody. Everybody was telling me what to do. I was like, I shut down everything and everybody. It was in those decisions that other people weren't willing to make, and those decisions that I wasn't willing to make before made a difference. I sold correctly. I booked correctly. I interviewed correctly. And the results came correctly. What makes Gloria strong now is I embrace what makes me strong, and I am unapologetic. I like the race, and I tell people I like the race. But one of the reasons I like the race so much is because I honestly believe that when I am in a race, anybody who races with me becomes better. I mean, my body movement even starts to shake when I think about it. I like to win. And I like other people to win because you get celebrated in this business. I don't go where I'm tolerated. I go where I'm celebrated. So when I'm on the phone talking to people, I'm laughing. When I'm mentoring, I'm happy. Awesome now, because now I can do it in English, in Spanish, in Portuguese, and I can see their light bulb go on. And it's the pink light bulb. And when it goes on, I'm happy. And that makes me successful. I had to become really good at listening. I had to really learn the art of asking questions and really hearing them. It's much harder to get to the heart of somebody when you're asking them to change first. I learned that making myself more like them versus making them or requiring them or even asking them to be more like me. I want to meet you where you are. I want to know who you are. I want to know what brings you joy. I want to know how I can bring you joy in that arena. We have to be able to talk, and we have to be able to disagree. It's not important that we agree. What's important is that I am able to tell you what I think, and you're able to tell me what you think. And that way, it's not personality driven, and I pray in the morning a lot about, God, take away my ego and let me hear the other person. And I am always starving to learn more about how I can be a better leader. Every single day for 2 years for me to get through it. Telling my story from the stage is big because I remember hearing other people's stories and how their stories impacted me so deeply. And because of Mary Kay, I've been able to tell my story, and I was able to find the strength to tell the real story, to see what a difference it made. So now I teach other people, win, so you can tell your story. Everybody has a story. Everybody has a story. You just don't necessarily have the platform to tell the story. So my responsibility as a role model in the African American community is big for me because I don't think everybody understands it. Because for me, it is an example for African American as much as it is an example for everyone who's not African American. All of us have thoughts about other cultures. And when you see someone who is successful in another culture, everyone starts to believe more in that other culture. It's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of expectation. It's a lot of desire that when you're at this level, you want other people at this level with you. No matter what their race, you want them at this level. But when you're the first African American at this level, you're opening the door for others to do the same. One of my favorite examples was when I took my daughter to college, her first year. And so I leaned over to the registrar office and I said, how much does it cost for her to attend college here for the amount? And I'd like to know her tuition and her books and her food, everything. And the lady looks up at me and she immediately looks at me and she says, you need to go down the hall to financial aid and they'll put you on a plan. And I immediately looked at her and said, I don't need a plan. I need the amount. And I was able to write a check for the entire amount. In that moment, I felt again, whew, Gloria, you made a good decision. Whew, Gloria, I'm so glad you didn't listen to so many people. Wow, Gloria, up late at night, carrying all those boxes, calling one more time. Seriously, in that moment, really, I was like, I'm so glad I did. I'm so glad I did. You know, God has played a role in my success so many ways. I first want to say that He has shown up more through Mary Kay because of the people that I'm around and how they have shown me how He's played a role in their life. So they've been a role model to me because of the way that God has shown up and the way they talk about it. I love turning to God on the good times and saying, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I really do. And I love knowing I can turn to God when it's hard. There's no way that I could have this much joy or this much passion or this much success or these many choices if God was not priority in my life and my dreams. My journey to this place has been one where I have celebrated being almost the queen, almost number one. I started calling myself the queen of almost because I was almost number one. I have run this race behind some heavy girlfriends who we've played together and raced together. So I became the queen of almost for years. And now I'm the queen of the most. All day long. You too can be number two. When I first became a national and I debuted 6 amazing national sales directors, we were elite executives together. We were girlfriends. It was awesome. It was awesome. So I am totally looking for new national sales directors to come up. And I don't know why there haven't been any lately, but I can promise you it is getting ready to roll, okay? Because that's the playground I'm choosing to play in. So we're going to play in developing more nationals. It is a priority.
You're number 1 for the Emerald Seminar and number 1 national nationwide.
But my next goal is to make sure that everybody else is excited to be number 2. That's my next goal. But my next goal and my next focus is to use these years and this wisdom really to identify women who want to be at the top of their game and are willing to do the work to get there. Become national sales directors, but to be top directors so that I can increase their influence on more people. The legacy I leave is how many people were touched by me that could touch a whole lot more people. I'm so proud to be before you. I'm so proud to be top rank. I'm elite executive, national sales director. My name is Gloria Mayfield Banks.